Leviticus was delivered to Moses on Mount Sinai and contains divine instruction about many areas of life, about food. Thus, the food laws are very strict and very well spelled out. And if you studied their life in the wilderness, you wouldn't like their diet at all. If you went to the store that God provided, you'd see quail and manna. And a new supply every day would come into the store. And you'd go into the store, and that would be what you would be given to eat. How many Americans do you think would develop an interest in that religious system? But one of the slaveries that was talked about in the Exodus is they missed their leeks. They missed their good food in Egypt. And they had a slavery to food. So the slavery to food was defeated. Another area is rest. Certainly not a topic that's well spelled out in Christian talk. How many of you have heard a talk in Christianity about rest? And yet it's one of the most important topics of all. In the book of Leviticus, you work 6 days, and on the seventh day you rest. And I mean you rest. For example, if it's the Sabbath, you can't even pick up a pen and write. You can't prepare any food. You can't turn on a light. You can't turn on the TV set. You can't turn a light off. So you better have it the way you want it for the 24 hours because that's all you can do. You have to let go of this this brain, and let go of it. Otherwise, we burn ourselves out. I've often said that one of the problems I have in Christianity is that Sunday is the day that the pastor works, and it's our day off, and he makes us go into his work day. And if you think about it, there is a truth to that. You also need to know that in the Jewish religion, they are not required to go to synagogue. There is no requirement whatsoever except to go 3 times a year. And to go when there's been a death, an immediate death in the family, to go and honor and remember the dead for the year of mourning or the anniversary of the death of a person. But they don't fill the synagogues with people because the highest place of worship in Judaism is the family dinner table. That altar is considered the highest altar. And if you think about your table as an altar, there's a big difference between that and throwing the food on the table and setting the silverware out and sitting down and saying, "Thank you, God," and going gobble, 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 and who's going to wash the dishes? There is something to be learned that food laws changed the way people consumed food or thought of food, was to change it entirely. But without that Sabbath rest, without that Friday night, going to the rest of a meal, of eating together as a family, and they'll sit at the table 2 hours or more, singing, talking, sharing the Psalms. They take half a day off to prepare all the food for the 24 hours. So the Sabbath begins at noon at the time of preparation. And as they're doing this, they are resting. I'm pretty convinced that that's one of the most serious crimes we as Christians may commit, is we're ending up with no rest. Now, let me speak of the New Testament because this is a very interesting contrast. In the Old Testament's work, rest. In the New Testament, it's rest. We are to live in the Sabbath rest, which means we do not strive. You strive after nothing. You let go of striving. You let go of pushing and pushing and pushing because you live in the rest of God. Chapters 1 to 5 of Leviticus form a manual of the ritual of sacrifice for the use of the laity and deal with voluntary private sacrifices. Sacrifices for expression of gratitude, for prayer, for spiritual communion, or a desire to get rid of something that is bothering you. The sanctuary was the property of the entire nation. That's very interesting. Who had all of them, men and women, young and old, voluntarily and generously contributed to materials for its construction. If you thought about your local church as a sanctuary for every nation in the world, you would begin to be aware of every nation in the world. It's not just a sanctuary for the 50 people that go there. It's a sanctuary for the entire world. Interesting, isn't it? Because then you will get the bigger picture. And when you're worshiping, you're not going to be worshiping in your own little narrow, bigoted way, but you're going to be worshiping with every person in the world who is worshiping. Let's suppose on Sunday you went to church. Are you worshiping with every person in the world that's worshiping? Or are you just worshiping with your local congregation? I'm throwing out some big, tough questions because there is so much to be gained here if we can see it.